Hi everyone, Nicolette here. You guys, I was supposed to have or to be on the talk show with Patricia Joe McGovern, but unfortunately, I couldn't connect, or I did connect and the sound went off or did not work, whatever. I'm not techie. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. So it has been postponed till tomorrow. But you guys, I already got dressed and everything. Like, really? So I'm thinking, do I wear the same thing tomorrow? No, I just don't feel right. She already saw me in the dress. I'm one of those, y'all. Like, I can't wear the same outfit twice to similar event in front of the same people. I just can't do it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but I can't do it yet. So I felt like I should not let this dress go to waste, okay? It is such a cute little dress, okay? So then I thought to myself, what can I do, right, to be on camera and make it worth my while having worn this dress, okay? And then I thought to myself, hey, I got my book shipment in. Hey. So I went earlier. I already opened the box, okay? Because I wanted to grab 2 books just in case she said, so do you have a copy of the book? And I'll be like, but out right here, right? But anyway, so here's the box, y'all. Already open. Well, you saw a whole set of books already because this is my second shipment, because as you know, on the day of the launching at the Union 9 interview, right? So there's going to be about 20 people there. And then a friend of mine, Lucrece, was like, what if they ask for more than one? And I was like, what if they ask for more than one? There are some people who won't purchase any, but there might be others who purchase 2. So I was like, let me get another shipment in just in case, okay? And that's why I have this, this here, okay? So in the flesh, okay, not flesh, in the paper, in the book form, whatever. Here's the book. Yeah, I have a tendency of holding it upside down because that is where I assume the words should be, but it's not. This is the way it should be. So as you can tell, there's no indication of it being not for sale like the other one, which is somewhere. Hold on, let me see. Hold on, y'all, hold on. This one, which says not for release. Yeah. So, but these right here are for release. Okay, here we go. Let's see, 20 of them. 20. Okay, that was sloppy. Isn't this cool? Okay, so you guys know this is my second book, but like someone said, each time the feeling of having produced something that's in book form, seeing your name, okay, in your picture. Oh, this way, right? It is upside. I know it was upside down. I know. Okay, so it's super cool, guys, to have this. So listen, if you're not going to be at the show, you have to order your copy, okay? So that if you need it signatured, okay, you need my autograph, we can provide that, all right? Okay, so I had a conversation with someone who was interested in writing a book as well. And then, I don't know if it's because I had invited them to my launching in the television place, right? And this person is a Christian, a devout Christian. And so then they called me back and they were like, you know what? Never mind. Because, it's the end of the world. And I don't see the reason why that we're doing this, okay? And so then I had to be, I was just like, okay, well, no problem, okay? Because the thing is, as you know, my third business is a publisher, right? So I've been studying and learning how to get it done so that I can do it for others the same way that I was able to get it done for myself and whatever. So then that's why I had offered this person this, and they were like, yeah, I don't see the need. So I'm going to talk to that at this moment. I have to sit down for this one. So, for those people who feel like because of the end of the world is coming, which we don't know if it's today or tomorrow or 5 years or 10 years, within the week, we don't know. See, I feel like if you have something to say that can, help the world and preach God's gospel, you should do it. See, now my book here talks about education. There's a sermon that I wrote about being a pathfinder and how one should lead. That's in here. There's another sermon or another time I wrote about being a leader and how one should act as a leader. It's in here. There are other things that I wrote about how one's decorum should be as a young lady, as a young man, there's so much in here that a person can take from this information and improve their life. I believe anything that you can share that can help someone improve their life, get a better education, get a better understanding of God's word, of themselves, of the world around them, okay? Then there's no reason why you should not go ahead and do that, okay? I feel like the only thing that you should not be doing in this day and age is sin. Writing a book is not a sin, okay? Publicizing the book is not a sin. See, because the more people read your book, so my next book, I know it's premature. I know it is. But my next book is already written, and it's a devotional. It's a devotional because it's all the words of inspirational thoughts and words that I have thought through or have been inspired to write throughout the years that I've lived, I guess. And when I had an issue or a problem and I prayed or I was sad and God inspired me, or I was super elated and happy and at my highest point and God inspired me words. So that's going to be my next book. And so I want to see what people say about that book, right? Because to me, a book on education and how, there's a problem with the system. And even though the system is going to the dogs, even though the world is ending, it has not ended yet. Has it now? And you still have your children who are going to school. That's the thing, see, people who might talk about, okay, what are you doing this? And why are you doing this? And, okay, you still have your child in school. You still have your job that you go to. You're still paying rent. You still have to put gas in your car. You still have to purchase food to eat. You still have to bathe with the water that you must pay for. So there's a lot of things that we're currently doing in this world now that you need knowledge and know-how how to get it, how to provide for it, how to help others acquire it, right? There's some people who are still going to jail now, who are still suffering now, who are still dying of illness now, who are still, doing things that they should not be doing because of the lack of knowledge now. So if I have information as to how I can teach you or yours, your friends, your children, your spouse, your loved one, how to better yourself in this world now as we're living it now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, okay? I don't think there's anything wrong with leaving a legacy behind, right? For the short time that we do have on this earth, right? So that in 5 years, 10 years, who knows when Christ is coming? It's coming sooner than we know. I was looking at my clock, right? I was timing myself to do something. And then I noticed how the second hand was super, it was going so fast. I was like, seriously, time has never gone this fast. It happens because time is drawing to an end. But as it's drawing to an end, I want myself to be found doing something productive, something that will help others, that will uplift others, that will encourage others, right? To live a better life. Because there are those who do not believe God is coming, and they're going to live their life, but I want them to live a good life. And in my speech, in my talking, in my book, in whatever I produce, they can find God there. Okay? So yeah, I'm going to go to a talk show. By the grace of God, God allowed me to get on it. But I want those who see me, who have, who has written this book, so that they can see that I am a Christian, and Christians have gotten to this level. Okay, as a Christian who obeyed God's law and listened to God's word and followed his commandments, I have acquired this much. It is not just for people who are sinful and doing debauchery and fornication and adultery and who are greed. It's not, success is not only for those people. Like, get it through your heads, you Christians. Oh my gosh. Okay, success is not only for the weak and the sinful and in those who are not listening to God. Success is for us all. If you put hard work, it will be yours, whether you're a Christian or you're not. That's just the way of life, okay? But I want to obtain success as a Christian and then show others that it's possible as a Christian, okay? And so I just wanted to share that because, as I, try to become successful so that I can be in a sphere, in a circle where people can see me and hear about me and see what I can do, right? Like I met this guy, hi. Anyway, we're just going to, at a later time, I'll tell you. But like, there are people that I meet on Facebook and Instagram that I have been able to help and that I have rendered service to. Now, how would I have been able to do that? Even preach, okay? Even preach. Because of the fact that they have seen my videos, heard me speak, watch me act, and they're like, listen, this is someone that I can learn from or that other people that I know can learn from. Now, how would I have gotten in that circle? How would I have gotten to this person if I was not on Facebook? You tell me that. Because me being who I am, the Nicolette that I know, okay? So I don't socialize with guys, period. Unless you're my brother or or I need your service for something, we don't talk. Because my, keeping my demeanor, decorum, and my reputation is important to me, right? But through social media, I'm able to laugh and joke and socialize with people, and they can see the positive side of me that maybe one-to-one they would never see because I would never give them the time of day just because that's who I am. See? So you can use whatever platform God allows you in a Christian way so that you can get the message across the way that you can. Irregardless of the fact that the end of the world is nigh. We all know that. It is coming. It's coming to a close. It's coming to an end. But as it does, please be caught doing the right thing all the time. Whether it's, the food you eat, the clothing you wear, the conversations you have, the kind of jobs you seek, what you place on social media, how you talk to people, right? It's everything. It's not just reading your Bible and going to church. OMG. It's not just that. Oh my goodness. I shouldn't say that. Someone told me that's not Christian-like to say. And I kind of agree because it's kind of saying, oh my God, it's just an abbreviation. So I do apologize for that, but I'm working on it. So for goodness sakes, right? Just realize that being a Christian is not just about reading your Bible and talking to your friends, okay? Or giving out tracts or having a conversation on the phone with someone about God. That's not what the Christian walk is about. It's your life. It's everything that you do. Everything that you do. And that includes social media, if that's your choice. And there's nothing wrong with being on social media. Right now, I went on TikTok recently and I was like, oh my gosh, look at all these Christians on TikTok. Okay. If the people who are not Christians can use the platform, because it's not a platform for either one or the other. Like, it's not like it was made for this. Okay. It's not like that. Okay. It's just a platform. So you can use it for what you please. Okay. It's the same thing as this is a piece of cloth. It was cloth. It's a cloth, right? But I can shape it, make it, sew it into an outfit that fits me as a Christian in the same way that a non-Christian, okay, a prostitute, or someone of the streets or someone, whoever, I don't care. Whoever else can make it into something that's super different from what I'm making, but it's the same cloth. You make of it what you can with what you have and what you know. See? And the same thing with the Bible. People use the Bible in the wrong way, right? You have atheists who have read the Bible and they still don't believe in God. It's your take. It's how you see it. So how God allows you to use the tools and the resources you have. Okay? So that is my belief. So yes, I will continue to publish books. I already told you, my next one is already written. Hello? Okay? But before we publicize that one, we're going to talk about this one right here. Yes, we are. The newest book, okay? And you know, all right, so if you have not seen my first book, I have it here, okay? Let me show you my very first book. This is my very first book, guys, Becoming. I wrote Becoming before Michelle Obama. Let me tell you that, okay? I'm just letting you know I wrote Becoming first. But there was someone who wrote it before me. So you can have the same titles but different content, okay? But it's a small little book, right? It's a book of poetry that I wrote. And then this one here is a bigger book about a topic that's totally different. But they all talk about how one can improve and change their lives and be better, okay? So you can buy either one, right? And improve your life and be a better Christian, a better father, a better mother, a better sister, better person in general. In whatever field you're in, like if it's scholastical, bam! You could use this to be a better individual. If it is more like life's journeys and you're kind of lost and you don't know, will I ever make it? Bam! Poetry that can help you realize that life is ever changing and you are becoming, okay? Not one instance in your life is you. It's just a part of who you're going to be. All right. So you use every experience, every act, every thought, every word, good or bad, to make you to become the person or allow you to become the person you're going to be. So today you made mistakes. So what? It happens. You pray about it, ask God for forgiveness, and you move on. Okay. And you use that experience to better yourself tomorrow so that you do not make the same mistakes. Okay. And today you're in the highest of highs, your great accomplishments. That's great. But so what? Because time does not remain there. Okay, do not expect that you're always going to be in a high. Take that time, enjoy that time, store it, learn from it. How did I get this success? So that you can apply it to the next level of your life so you can attain greater success. That is life. That is you becoming. That is how I am becoming, right? I have not become yet. I'm still becoming. I'm still young until you die. You have not yet become the person that you are supposed to be, right? It is once you're dead that they're going to write your obituary of who you were, right? Okay. But as you live, there are still experiences to be had, words to be said, mistakes to be made, positive things to go through, negative things to go through, accomplishments, right? So meaning you're becoming every day. Every day you add something different, something new to your life to improve you, to better you, or to hurt you and depreciate you. Your goal is to try to depreciate yourself less and improve yourself more. But we're all going to do a little bit of each one every day. Okay. So let's hope you decide to appreciate you with this book. Like I have, hello, I became a nurse using the skills from this book. I'm going to become a medical doctor using the skills in this book, okay? And then who knows what else will be after that? I don't know. What does God have in store for me? Whatever it is, I'm going for it. Whatever time that I have, I'm going to use it. I'm not going to be idle. I'm not going to sit here and wait for the end of the world to come to consume me. No, I'm going to talk about God in every shape, way, or form that I can. I'm going to work and allow myself to achieve whatever successes God will grant me, okay? And I'm going to bring as many people as I can along with me. Do you want to come along? Do you want to be better? Listen, you stick with me and we will find a way. We are going to make mistakes, yes, but we're going to find ways to get solutions too, okay? And we're going to do that as a team. Right? Using the resources that we have, that God has given us. Okay, guys, so I've been talking for a long time. Oh, you want me to share a poem? Okay. Oh, sorry. Let me share a poem. I'm going to share one of my favorites, okay? I'm going to share, let's see. So I'm going to share the poem about becoming a nurse. That's one of my favorite poems. Wait a second. Let me find it. Let me find it. I need to read your guys' comments more. Your comments, you guys. That was so improperly spoken English, y'all. Okay, let's see. Where's my table of contents? Oh my gosh. Okay. So the title is Now a Nurse. So let me find it. Not this page. Okay, it's on page 78. Hold on. So I'm going to read a poem from my book, my first book, Becoming. So I wrote that poem, 78, right? Oh, my hands are getting weak. Forgive me. Okay. 78. So I wrote this poem after I graduated. So you guys, my nursing career, again, that is the reason why I needed this book, okay? Because when I was studying for nursing, I was like, can somebody teach me how to study, right? And I even failed nursing too, and that's where this whole structure came from. But as I graduated and my professor saw that I was like, I had become the most one of the most improved students from my failure to success, 90s, 98, all of that, right? So then they asked me to speak during my graduation. And as a poet, that was what I did. Like anytime someone asked me to speak for a speech, to talk, I always prefaced it with a poem. I haven't done that. I haven't had so many sermons recently and I haven't prefaced it with a poem yet. Oh, anyway. That's not what you asked for. You asked me for the poem. So anyway, so this is the poem I wrote and stated or recited at my graduation. Now a nurse. Some did not think we'd make it. Indeed, we could have failed. But others placed us on a pedestal and hoped we'd rise and soar. We worked so hard to be here, though at times we doubted the call. The faith of those who loved us is what carried us through it all. I close my eyes and think of it, the journey that brought us here. For some, it was quite simple, but for others, not so clear. So many hours we labored, with heart in hands we pled. We would make the grades we needed and reach this very end. The purpose for it all? To care for those we love, to touch the ones who need us most, to please the Lord above. To change a life or save a soul, birthing or deceasing. To touch a heart, appease a mind, longing and beseeching. Find a little girl in wretched state and make her whole again. Give a grandfather his dignity and make him yet a man. Restore a young man's buoyancy, grant him the will to live. Prove a mother's sanity, show her she's love to give. The field is open wide to us to test our very fate. Where we shall go, no one knows, but for sure we will be great. In God we trust. We will not fail. Our paths are set so true. For now, the products of Atlantic Union bids you all adieu. Isn't that cool? Listen, when I write my poems, I'm astonished at the end, but it's not me, it's God. Literally, God gave it to me. So this poem, as you can see in the beginning, I talk about the hardship of, studying to become a nurse. And then what's the whole point of it? For some of us, because some people, it was so easy. They didn't have to study hard, but some people, they were like, oh my gosh, am I going to fail? Am I going to pass? So you can see that in the poem. But my favorite part is when it talks about what we do as a nurse, because there's so many different kinds of nurses, right? There are pediatricians, there are pediatric nurses, there's psych nurses, there's what else? A gynecologist. There's so many different ones, right? Love that poem, beautiful. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and so then I let all of that see that. The one line that always brings me chills is the one that says, give a grandfather his dignity and make him yet a man. And when I think about that, again, I got chills, my hair stood on ends. And I like that part because working in nursing homes and seeing these older gentlemen, looking at their pictures of who they once were, some of them were soldiers and they commanded armies and they raided like a nation, I don't know, a whole nation. I don't know, some of them were in the Vietnam. And then unfortunately, because of time and because of disease and because of the lack of support, they end up in the nursing home. But as a nurse, we treat them with dignity and we give them the respect that they deserve. And they feel like they're yet a man. Like, I'm not this decrepit nobody, but I'm a man, right? And we treat them like that. And so I love that part, right? Find a little girl in a wretched state and make her whole again, right? As a pediatric nurse, you see little kids and they're just broken. And then you make them feel like, listen, you're a little girl, let's play, let's have fun. Like, you can live, it's okay. And you make them feel like life might, even for this time, this moment, life is okay, it's worthwhile. And then prove a mother's sanity, show her she has love to give. Like, you have moms who lose babies or who have like postpartum, and they come to us as nurses and we're like, listen, you lost a baby, that's okay. You can have another one, but let's deal with the suffering and the pain and realize that you're still a mom, right? You're still a woman and you're still capable of giving love to others around you. And there's a possibility perhaps you can have a child. And even if you don't, right? You're a human being and you have love to provide, right? And I love like the way that God allowed me to use these words. I'm going to read one more because I'm just in the mood for it. Let me read one from my childhood. Let's see, that one that is, let's see. I'm going to read the very first poem I ever wrote. The very first. So I never used to know how to write poetry, guys. My older sister, she's the one who's the poetic genius. My dad, we all got it from my dad. My dad has like so many gifts. Speaking, writing, drawing, poetry, all of that. So let me see if I can find it. And so whenever I was in school and they asked us to write poetry, I would go to my older sister like, can you write me something? I don't know what to do. Or I would plagiarize. I'd go to one of 41. So I'd go to one of my books that I read, like nursery rhyme or whatever, and I would copy it. And I remember one time my professor or instructor in high school, middle school, I don't remember which one, but she was like, you copied this. And I was like, oh, I did, I'm sorry. But anyway, so in high school, senior year is when I became poetic. And I had a lot of troubles with my stepmom, and that brought it out in me. And so I feel like troubles, problems, issues can bring out certain things in a person, and strife definitely brings my literary genius out. So here is my very first poem. Again, I'm reading from Becoming. I'm going to do another video with my new book, but today someone asked for a reading. And thank you, Angelo, for asking. I wouldn't have shared, but since you asked. Okay, my very first poem. You are stronger. Life is no joke, though it can be funny. Life is not a breeze, though it can be taken lightly. Life is a serious affair, but you must learn to enjoy it. Life is one frontier after another, with many limitations that must be surpassed, with many cutting edges that few will produce delightedly. It is one front line that must be led victoriously, another border that one learns to cross fearlessly, one boundary that many will overcome bravely. In life, you have few friends, but you must rely on someone. You may have no family, but someone must support you. You are an individual, though to some you are no one at all. Your way of speaking is intolerable to many, but for the rest a sign of accomplishment. The way you walk is provocative to many, but for some the sway of your hips shows your femininity. Your hair is a pain to many, but for others, your heritage and simplicity lingers in every strand. Your actions seem pretentious to many, but for some, your propriety resounds with every deed. It is hard to win the war that's life because it's full of despair and encouragements are few. But once you survive one little battle, once God allows you one little victory, once He takes your hand and you allow Him to guide you, the war's already won. You'll just have to trust Him to show you that what He already knows, that you have triumphed, that you are stronger. Tell me I was 13 years old, 14 years old, 14, no. You know what? I don't even remember because I said high school. In high school, I was young, y'all. It was sometime in high school. So it was between 13 and 17. I have a few, in my mind, it was a 13. So I must have written it at the very beginning of high school. So my high school years was super tough because I'm super obedient. Always have been, always will be. And so in high school, when you're with a lot of students and children that are all about, like being rebellious and doing and exploring and finding ways to like disobey your parents and still stay in the house, that kind of thing. Anyway, so like my classmates always perceived me as either goody two-shoe or just like, ugh, And so I had to be the one to encourage myself and know that, listen, Nicola, you're on a good path. You don't have to give up. Like the way that I spoke, I did not speak in slang. So it was like, why do you speak like that? Or, oh my gosh, you speak better English than I do, and I'm an American, right? Or I had always had natural hair. So it was like doodle braids or thick braids. And when are you getting a perm? How old are you? And then the clothing that I wore was just like no name brand. So I had a tough time, guys. And I had stepmom issues. And I had just recently left my aunt, who was like the one person that I was sure loved me. So I struggled a lot. So this poem was me reassuring myself that, Nicolette, you are stronger for all of these things you're going through. And God has overcome every war that you're going to win. And these little battles are just petty compared to the huge war that He's already won, because He died and He's resurrected and He's saving a place for you in heaven, right? So writing a poem like this in high school was like a big deal for me, right? And I thank God for the program that I was in that kind of encouraged us. It was something, I forget. But I remember there was a class that they offered where we had to write poetry, and I had to explore that part in me for the class. And it just like, it was such a great experience, guys. Like if I was to do it over, I would give myself a lot more things so that I wouldn't be hated so much in high school. I would get a different stepmom, even though when I think about it, as I look at her now, I realized she wasn't that bad, to be honest, compared to very horrible people. So maybe I would have changed a little bit more and be a little bit more understanding, a little less, like, I don't know, like I was always retarding back and answering back, and I don't know. Anyway, it was a rough childhood, but I have a better adulthood for it. And that's the thing. That's the lesson that I learned in life. Whatever part of your life is hardest, it prepares you for the one to come. So if you had an easy childhood, you're going to have a rough adulthood because you wouldn't have learned to be resilient and to cope with tough times. And you wouldn't know what to do when you face trouble. But when you have a hard childhood or a hard adolescent, and then you learn, okay, so things can be tough, but I can still make it. I will achieve, I can fight it, and I can overcome, right? So those of you who are going through some difficult times right now, just hang in there. Don't give up. Know that God is shaping you for something greater, that you are developing something about you. Oh, thank you so much. Angelo said you have an awesome poetic voice, and you should do poetic readings at the library. I'm going to think about that very strongly. A lot of people tell me that. I love to, read poetry and like the intonation and the pause. I love that kind of thing. So yeah, I definitely will think of that. Thank you for saying so. Yeah, so guys, like if you're going through something, don't be discouraged. Just hang in there and know that God, He's working something out for you. It's going to be super great. I mean, it hurts now, but when you look back, you're going to be like, oh, that's why. And you're going to have such an enjoyable time later on that it's going to be worthwhile. It's the same thing about life on earth compared to life in heaven and life in the new earth. Like when you get to heaven or when you are in the new earth, you won't remember the bad things that happened to you on earth. But you will remember that you overcame something extraordinary. And that because of that which you have overcome, you're living this life now. And God says, and Ellen G. White says that you will say to yourself, for this that I'm living now, I would go through much more. Right? Because you would have known that this is so worthwhile. So even like, and I speak to those who are going, like you're going through something and you're sinning right now, but you want to overcome and you want to change and you want to do differently. Just remember, like, you're not going to always live this on this earth. We're not going to, and you don't want to stay here. You want to go to a place where you don't have to continue sinning the way that you are or suffering the way that you are. You want to go to heaven. You want to have a better life and a different life and just enjoy great things. And if you have people who have died or people who are suffering in your life currently or in the past, you want to be able to see them, right? You want to be able to enjoy life with them later on, especially if they endure till the end. Don't be the one who's angry for them and give up on God for them when they're still holding fast and they're still like, God is good and God is great. And because you saw their suffering, you're like, oh, I hate God because why did God allow this to happen? Okay, why did I change my accent just now? Sorry, I didn't mean that. It just came out. But like, stick in there, hang in there, be strong. Ask God for strength. It's not easy. The devil is going to make things in a way so that you do give up and that you do sin and you fail sometimes, but don't remain in that failure. Don't allow the failure to define you. Don't let people look at you and think that is what. Okay, Mr. Angelo wants to join. Let's.
Hey, Nicolette.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to encourage you and just tell you to keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate the poetry readings.
Thank you. Thank you for suggesting it. I love writing poetry. I like reading it even more than I like writing it when it comes together. So thank you for asking. I appreciate
Now,
it.
now I have one question for you. Did you have you ever heard the poem "Oh God, Forgive Me When I Whine"?
No, I have not.
Oh my gosh, that one is an all-time favorite
Really?
of mine, and I wanted to share with you as a it's a blessing. But basically, it goes, today upon a bus I saw this girl with golden hair. She seemed so fine I envied her and wished I was half as fair. I sat there and I watched her as she hobbled down the aisle. She had one leg and wore a crutch, but as she passed, she smiled. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two legs, the world is mine. Later on that day, I went to buy some sweets. The girl who sold them had such charm. I figured I'd sit and talk a while. To be late would do no harm. We sat there, we talked. She said, thank you, sir. You've been so kind. It's nice to talk to folk like you because you see, I'm blind. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two eyes, the world is mine. Later on that day, I saw a little boy with eyes just so blue. He was sitting in the playground as he seemed like he didn't know what to do. So I went to him and said, why don't you play with the others near? He looked straight ahead without a word, and then I knew he could not hear. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have two ears, the world is mine. Two legs to take me where I go. Two eyes to see the sunset glow.
Man.
Two ears to hear all I should know. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I'm blessed indeed. The world is mine.
Oh, that was so cool. Thank you. I'm sorry. I get emotional. I teared up. Oh my gosh, that was super cool. Oh, you said what's the name? I'm gonna have to write it down because I have to read it again. Oh.
That one is called "Oh God, Forgive Me When I Whine."
Okay. Hold
Oh
on.
God, forgive me
I'm
when I
gonna write it
whine.
in my notes. Give me one moment. Oh God, I'm sorry. My nose. I gotta get some tissue. Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm gonna write it down. I had tissue here somewhere.
There's another one that I really appreciate.
Okay.
There's one. I only remember an excerpt from it. It's a longer poem. But it's called "When Thou Passest Through the Waters." Have you ever heard that poem?
No, I haven't. Do share whatever part that you have. I'm gonna try to write.
Okay, so that one goes, is there any soul discouraged as it journeys on its way? Does there seem to be more darkness than there is of sunny day? Oh, it's hard to learn the lesson as we pass beneath the rod, that the sunshine and the shadow serve alike the will of God. But there stands a word of promise, like the promise of the bow, that however deep the waters, they shall never overflow.
Mm.
When a sorrow comes upon you that no other soul can share, when the burden seems too heavy for the human heart to bear, oh, there's grace in the one who comforts, if you'll give him an abode. There's a burden bearer ready, if you'll trust him with your load. For the precious promise reaches to the depths of human woe, that however deep the waters, they shall never overflow.
Wow. That was beautiful. Oh my, I tell you, poetry is something else. Like that, it just reaches the deepest part of you. That was beautiful. That was awesome. Lovely. And that one is
Yeah.
called,
That one is called "When Thou Passest Through the Waters." When Thou Passest Through the Waters. It's actually, I think it was inspired by Isaiah. There's like a verse in Isaiah that says, "When thou passest through the waters," and things of that nature. So it's actually inspired by Isaiah. I want to say 58. I'm not sure, but it's from Isaiah.
okay.
All right. So, yeah, those are two interesting ones that I've committed to memory. I've committed
Wow,
a
that's
lot
great.
more.
It's so funny. It's so sad because like I write, but I never like I think in my lifetime I've committed two poems to memory, and then because I don't repeat them, I don't recall them anymore. But it's so great. My grandmother used to do that, and like she used to recite the poetry at church, and it was like such a beautiful thing to see someone able to retain the whole verse. It's just awesome. That's really a gift. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
God is good, man. I tell you, I would say those poems, each one of the poems that I've committed to memory,
Hmm.
they've hit me like you said, like you go through hard times in life, you go
Hmm.
through some rough patches, and I really want to say those poems really, helped me come
Yeah,
through,
it's true.
in a mighty way. Like, um, I don't know, were you ever at Oakwood University?
No, I went to
No?
Atlantic Union.
So there's a guy at Oakwood. His name was T. Marshall Kelly, Elder
Hmm.
T. Marshall Kelly, and he was the chaplain at the time. And he shared a poem with me that I never forget.
Hmm.
He uh he would always it would start like this. I knelt to pray when day was done, and prayed, "O Lord, bless everyone. Lift from the saddened heart the pain, and let the sick be well again." And then I woke another day, and I carelessly went on my way. I did not even go to try to wipe the tear from any eye. I did not even share the load of any brother on the road. I did not even go to see the sick man right next door to me, but after that, when day was done, I prayed, "Oh Lord, bless everyone." But as I prayed, into my ear, a voice whispered loud and clear, "Pause, my child, before you pray. Whom have you tried to help today?
Mm.
God's sweetest blessings come to those who help out here or down below." And then I hid my face and cried, "Forgive me, Lord, I have not tried." but grant me just another day so that I may live the way I pray.
Aww. That was so cool. And you remembered that. Oh my gosh, you're so great. Wow. That's touching too. That's a tearjerker as well. That's so cool.
That one was a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
And it was like, Lord, please help me with this. And then the next day, I'm not studying for that very test. I was,
Right.
you know, grant me just another day so that I may live the things
Yeah.
I pray. Like, sometimes we need to just be reminded and encouraged, like, just go ahead and do it,
Yes.
like you're praying it, just be about it,
That's true.
and
That's so true.
that's it.
That wow, no, that hit a chord there too because it happens to us all. Sometimes you do pray to help someone. One of the things that I've done, like people tell you, could you pray for me? In the
Hmm.
past, you're like, yeah, sure, and then you forget. You know what I mean? And then as I realize that every time, then I'll see the person again, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they had asked me to pray for them. I forgot. So then I realize, whenever someone asks me to pray for them right then and there, I'm like, can I pray for you now? Because I don't want to forget. So that's, just in connection with praying and, doing what you say when you say that you're going to do it, that kind of thing. So yeah, that hit a chord there. Thank you for sharing that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever heard the one called The Code Within?
No, there's so much I haven't heard, brother. Like, so tell me. I'm interested. I love that.
Okay.
Please.
This one is really nice, especially in the climate we're in today, like, everything going on.
Mhm.
It goes, it starts out like this. It says, six humans trapped by happenstance in bleak and bitter cold. Each one possessed a stick of wood or soul, the story's told. Their dying fire in need of logs, the first man held his back. Because of the faces round the fire, he noticed one was black. The second man sitting across the way saw one not of his church, and he couldn't see how he could give the fire his stick of birch. The third man sat in tattered clothes, he gave his coat a hitch. Why should my log be put to use to warm the idle rich?
Mm.
The fourth man just sat back and thought of the wealth he had in store, and how he could keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. The fifth man's face bespoke revenge as the fire passed from his sight, because all he could see in his stick of wood was a chance to spite the white. The last man of this forlorn group did nothing except for gain, giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. Their logs were held tight in dead still hands. It was proof of human sin. They did not die from the cold without. They died from the cold within.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was beautiful. That was great.
The
Wow.
cold within,
The cold
yeah.
within, right? Oh, I saw that coming too. Wow. And the reason why I love poetry too is it's so concise, but it's so poignant, right? You don't need so many words, but every word counts, and it just hits home. That was a powerful point, and it's so true. How people can be so selfish. I won't as if I'm gonna do something to help you survive, and I don't like you, then I'd rather die. That was powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
I wish I could only read them. I don't have anything to memory. My favorite poem is what is it, by William Williamson, which I shared previously. I don't even think I have committed that to memory all the way. With our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is not our light, but our darkness that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be gorgeous, talented, brilliant, and fabulous? But who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about you shrinking so that others will not feel insecure around you. We were made to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And when you let your light shine, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. When you are liberated from your fears, you unconsciously liberate others. Like that's the one poem that I love so much, and I decided I'm gonna definitely memorize this one. And I think I have a few words off. But other than that, like, yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know too many. So, but you have a great mind to be able to retain and remember all of that. That's awesome.
Well, there's I have a short one that I think you would be able to remember.
Okay.
This one, this was one of the, I want to say one of the first ones I've memorized. It
Mm.
was called Broken Dreams.
Mm.
And it goes, as children bring their broken toys with tears for us to mend, I brought my broken dreams to God because he was my friend.
Mm.
But instead of leaving him there in peace to work alone, I stood around and tried to help with ways that were my own.
Mm.
I finally snatched him back and said, how could you be so slow? My child, he said, what could I do? You never did
Let
let
go.
go.
I knew that was coming. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so could you like send them to me so I can
Yeah.
try? That would be great.
Yeah.
And
I
mhm.
was sending you the, yeah, what I'll do is I'll just type in like some of the ones I shared. I'll type
Yeah,
in
and
the
that way I could look
comments.
them up too. Like that's
Yeah.
super cool. Oh my gosh, this is nice. Wow.
Yeah.
So now that
Yeah.
you've inspired me, so now I'm going to share poems when I come on as well. Cause like it's just no, it really poetry is just dear to my heart. Again, like I said, it's kind of like part of me because my dad write poetry. He writes poetry. He's written poetry for a long time, and it's so sad because the person I was sharing about is him. So he had said, oh, when I wrote my book of poetry, he was super elated, and then he was like, I want to, make a collage of mine as well. So then I was like, that's awesome, Dad. Let's do it. And then just recently, he was like, you know what? Never mind. I'm like, what? So it's like poetry is just so dear to my heart. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love it when people are able to like recite it, like that's awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome. I had like whenever I hear a poem that I enjoy, um I always like, make a note of it and like kind of put it somewhere and tell myself you're gonna memorize it too. And I never
I
go
have
back.
I have an entire book
You too?
of
I
poems
do
that I've
too.
collected over
I
the
do
years, just kind of like,
too.
because like, and then what I do is I share them with my soldiers and things of that
Uh-huh.
nature
Uh-huh.
to encourage them
Oh, that's so
through whatever.
cool. And seeing the fact that you memorize it, you could just recite it. You know what I mean? Ah,
Yeah,
that's
and
so cool.
that's so much, like for me, I think that, and like most, I would say most of the poems I memorized within in high school and college years.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Lately, unfortunately, I've been slacking. I have not committed a new, like these past, I would say 3 years. I have not committed a new poem
Right.
to memory or anything
Okay.
like that. But yeah, when you have it memorized, it's just like, that's it. Like you just eat. But for me, here's the funny thing about me. I
Mm.
write poems. Like I have my own personal
You
poems.
too.
I have not.
You have to share
I don't
one
have many of those memorized. And then a lot
then.
of them were when I was writing, and when I was writing, I was in a more. I was in a. I guess
A darker
darker
place.
time in my life.
Yeah.
So that was when I was really young. That was probably in high school years. But
Mm-hmm.
I haven't written since, I would say the last thing I wrote was when I was in grad school.
Mm.
For seminary, it was like, I think they were doing like a poetry thing, and I was like, let me pull out my dusty pen and write a poem. And that was probably the last poem I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
But even that one, I haven't committed to memory.
Right.
Um, I had it committed to memory when I presented it,
Right.
but it's like it just leaves me like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other poems that like I appreciate from other authors and everything, I often, if it really strikes a nerve, I'll try to commit it to memory so that I could do
So
that. Yeah.
the next time, I don't know if it's
I think
time, you're gonna have to share your poems as I shared one of mine. Okay? And
Okay.
that's fine. But it happens that we sometimes write from a dark place. And I think it's important that we're able to express ourselves even in those times. It's like because that's how we get it out and we don't internalize it. Because when you internalize it, it hurts you more and it ruins you sometimes, right? But when you're able to, get it out, it's great. So this it's fine. It doesn't matter how dark it is, you know?
No, well, no, I don't have dark poems like, but I guess for me, the only time I'm either inspired to write, it's when I'm given an assignment to write.
Right.
When this one wasn't an assignment; it was just like a poetry club, and
Oh,
they were gonna do poetry recitations. So I was like, okay, let me create a poem for it, and do an open mic. So if there's an open mic, then that will encourage me to
yeah.
write. Or if I'm going through something, it will encourage me to write. But for me, I don't write like just off the whim. Like it's
Same.
not a discipline for me. Like so many people, like they're like, oh yeah, like they're like I know poets that like write every day, like they're
Right.
writing a
Right.
poem every day,
Right.
and that was me at a certain time in my life. But I'm not at that place
Right.
anymore.
I
Where
I totally agree, and it's the same with me. Like even writing, I remember we had an assignment as a medical corps cadets, and we had to write a 10-page paper, and I'm like, what? Why? And they're like, Nicolette, you're complaining you wrote a whole book. I'm like, well, that was on my own time, and I wanted to. I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, if someone tells you to, then it's like a little bit like, oh, fine, I'll write
Mhm.
it, you know? And also with the
Yeah.
poems, anytime someone asks you to, read a poem, I would write a new one. That would be my opportunity to write new ones. And I also write children's story with the same way because I write children's story. And anytime they ask me to do like a children's corner, I
Mhm.
never recycle. I always write a new one because to me, that's my opportunity to be inventive. Otherwise, I won't sit there and just write. Just
Yeah.
I actually had one lady who read my book and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you should join my magazine and because it's gonna be great." And I'm like, "What? That means I'm gonna have to write every day? No, thank you. I appreciate it."
Yeah. And I find the same thing like even with sermons. I don't
Mm,
write sermons on the
yes,
regular unless I'm asked to, like to
yes,
preach. Now, if
yes.
someone asks you to preach for some week or something, then the creative juices start spinning. I start going into my, and everything
So
like that.
true,
But
so
as far as just writing, like if for me, if there's no need,
hmm
I don't do it. Like if
that's
there's no
right.
request,
Same. As a matter of fact, like it's sad to say, but when someone tells you to, can you preach for me? I'm like, oh man, so that means I have to go. Because when I write, just like you, it's like, okay, for me, I tell my friend, I'm like, I don't, I don't write. Like, let's say they tell me today for next month. I will wait to the day of, the night before. And the reason why I do that is because like I want it to be inspired by God. I want to know however good and there's a lot of research that goes into it for me. Like I want to teach something new. I want to inspire. But I don't want it to be like, oh my gosh, you're so talented. You're so great. It's never me. I always know, even when I write poems, sometimes like in the past, they'll ask me to write a poem right then and there, like people are going up and they're missing somebody. They're like, Nicolette, could you fit this spot? I'm like, what? Huh? How many minutes do I have left? 30 minutes? Okay, wait. I got this. But then it's okay because I'm like, God is doing that, not me. I never think it's my doing. And so that's why, like, people think you enjoy it, but it's not an enjoyment. It's a duty for me. It's God using
yeah.
me, speaking through me. So it's not something I'm like, yes, let's do this. Not at all. So I totally
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. So, speaking of sermons, have you ever heard the one, I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one any day? You
Mm-mm.
had no?
No,
Oh my
no.
God, that one is an
Now
all-time
you're gonna make me
favorite
go
for me.
research poems because that's I don't know. Like and you have like
Okay.
Christian poems. Like I rarely see very good. I see very good secular poems. That has a great motivational, great tone that can inspire you, whatever. But Christian poems, I write Christian poems. I don't see them often, so definitely share.
Yeah, that one, I'd rather see a sermon. It goes, I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one any day. I'd rather one would walk with me than merely point the way.
Mm,
The eye is a better pupil, a better listener than the ear.
mm,
Fine counsel is confusing, but examples are all always clear. For the best of all the preachers are the men who live their creed,
mm.
but seeing good put into action is what everybody needs. I can soon learn how to do it if I first can see it done. I could watch your hands in action, but too fast your tongue may run. And I said, and the best of all the preachers are the men who live their creed, for seeing good put into action is what everybody needs. Though an able speaker charms me with their eloquence, I say, oh, I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one any day.
Okay, you speak very well as well. Like you presented well. Like obviously you could tell you're a poet. Like it has
Thank
good tone.
you.
Very good. Wow. That was touching.
The
Change, how
best
can
that
I
ever.
improve? Right? That's what words should do. One of my poems is the power of the tongue, or the power of words. And it's like we don't know how effective our words can be, how destructive, how powerful, right? And so when people use words to empower and to strengthen and to guide, that is just amazing. But then the poem says it's better to live it than to speak it, you know, but I think it's great. Wow, that's a beautiful poem.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, those are some all-time favorites, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with
Definitely. Thank
with
you
you and
for
with
coming
the
on
girl.
to share. And like I said, I'm going to, I think, yeah, I'm going to share more poems, look for more poems, read more poems because of your sharing this. So thanks a lot.
Definitely, thank you.
All right, then. Well, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.
You too, Nicolette. Have a good one.
All right.
Blessings on you.
Bye.
Bye bye.